about 3:25, and he drove up, and he put a brown sack in my car, in the drawer, and I opened it up, and I saw just a plastic container type thing, and then I looked over and saw a piece of paper with some writing on it. So I opened it up, and I read it, and so he said he wanted $10,000, and so I just started fumbling in my drawer and got the money, and I gave him what I had, not all of it, because I was trying to count it, and he kind of groaned. So I put what I had back in the sack and gave it to him.
What did the note say?
Well, it said that it was nitroglycerin, and that it could blow up and not to shake it, and that there was a bomb planted in the bank, so for me not to alarm the guards, and that after he drove off, not to alert the police until he called the bank.
What was your reaction to this?
Well, the first thing I did, I just pressed the alarm, and nothing seemed to happen. I guess it was faster than I thought, but I turned around to the girl behind me, and I just motioned to her that I'd been robbed.
Were you afraid that it would go off?
Yes, I was.
Well, he walked up, he was filling out a telecheck application, and he had stood there for about 10 or 15 minutes. And then on this little note, on a brown paper bag note, he had wrote, "This is a holdup, give me the money." He didn't say, the only words he said was just, I said, "Give it all to me."
Did you, in fact, give him the money?
Yes. And he after he showed me the note, he pulled the gun.
Did he seem nervous or upset or anxious at any time?
Yes, he did. It seemed like there's something, like he was doped or something.
I object to the fact that regardless of what you call it, it is still a guaranteed annual income, whether you work or don't work. And I just don't think that it's a reform measure. Certainly, our whole welfare system needs overhauling. But in my opinion, this isn't the answer. This puts a premium on idleness.
You have stated that this was going to cost Texas taxpayers $2 for every dollar the state will receive under the program. Could you elaborate on that?
I think that's an accurate estimate. You see, the federal government will now pick up the tab for a minimum income of a family of 4 of $2,400 per year. So that relieves the state of a portion of that, which they have been paying themselves. But by virtue of the fact that Texas will get a disproportionately small share of the total disbursements under this bill, we will be paying the welfare costs of New York, California, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. So that means that we will pay in federal taxes about $2 for every dollar that our people receive.
I make a demonstration. I run like this.
Yeah.
Look like I go lost the ball, because I pass. But I make pass for my friends sometimes, not all the time.
Mr. Shell, Joey Shell is quite sold on you as a particular type of player that the Tornado needs, as one who could come in and maybe change the pace of the game, slow it down, give it that Brazilian influence. Would you like to do that Saturday night against Atlanta?
Well, all depend about for what formation Mr. Newman will put inside. I have excellent condition. I am ready for play.
Atlanta's a tough team, are they not?
Yes, because they know, because all the time we play together, But they have real good team. But I think Dallas have a better.
we're going to preserve the federal system as we go into the third century of this country, we are going to have to revamp local government. We're going to have to make it responsive and effective.
Do you seem to gain overall advantages from metropolitan government?
We definitely do, at least from my somewhat biased viewpoint, having worked with it for all the way through from the beginning. You eliminate duplication and overlap. We eliminated approximately 900 jobs. This didn't mean we fired the people. We took them out of the duplicating, overlapping housekeeping functions and put them out rendering services directly to people.
What do the people think of it?
The surveys that have been made of our community show that between 80 and 85% would not want to go back to the old two governments now.
Psychologically, it's been very, shall we say, that discouraging to the people, whether they are fighting for their freedom now or hoping to be free. We also hear the concern whether the United States is going to continue to be the first-rate power, or she wants to withdraw herself from Asia and let somebody else take over.
Well, my husband started traveling, and I started drinking more and more, and drinking alone, feeling sorry for myself, and feeling unneeded and unwanted, really. So I started drinking alone, and it got completely out of hand then. And when it reached the point where I could not control it, it controlled me completely. I didn't want to drink like I did, but I couldn't help myself, you see. So when I reached the point where I could not live with myself in this misery and hell any longer, I decided to do something about it.
Perhaps some people don't know where they can go for help. Did you go to a doctor, or did you go to AA, or where did you go first?
Well, you see, I had a very wonderful, understanding doctor through this period, and he knew what was wrong with me, and so he mentioned to me Alcoholics Anonymous, and my husband mentioned Alcoholics Anonymous, but I didn't listen to my husband.
Was your husband aware of this problem throughout its
For quite a long while before I knew, and he knew what was wrong with me because he talked to someone who was an alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic.
Mr. Halvick, tell me about this old-fashioned machine.
Well, Mary, I've had this old machine 25 years. It's older than that. And fashion molds, it does such a nice work. I just still like it for my oats.
Well, why?
Well, I prefer it rather than the combine. Now, combine's all right on my wheat and barley and milo.
Could it be that you're kind of sentimental about the old machine?
Well, it's in my blood, and I sort of like it.
And you harvest all of your oats. How many oats are you going to make?
Oh, I'll make probably 2,000 bushel. That's no crop oats.
You still have the big meals at lunchtime when threshing?
That's the only time I get a good meals when I'm threshing, Mary.
Mr. Halvick, it's been nice seeing this old thrash machine. Is there another one like it in the country?
I don't know of another one in the country that's running.
And this one is 25 years old with you, probably 10 years older than that.
They are older, Mary.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Halvick.
Thank you, Mary. Glad to have you here.
I usually start about 6:30 at the post office. I usually get up about 5:30 or so. I don't live too far from here, so I just get ready and get down here at the post office and get ready to get my mail out.
How much time is involved in sorting the mail and getting it ready for the street?
Well, we usually start about 6:30 and we're ready for the street at 9 o'clock.
How long have you had this route?
Just 2 months now.
What's the reaction to a lady postman?
Well, so far, everyone has been so kind to me, and they seem to go along with it now. A lot of them think it's women's lib, but it isn't.
How do you stand on women's lib?
Well, I have always thought the women were far superior to the men anyway, so we don't need women to live.
Oh, I say right now you and I are going to start an argument. What is the feeling of the people on your route toward you now that they've known you for a couple of months?
They're very kind to me. I have a lot of people with water and tea, and I even have people that feed me on my route. That's why I'm getting so fat.
How about biting dogs?
Not a one on my route now. I've gotten them taken care of. People come out and they kind of tell you their troubles, and they tell you about the happy things that are happening to them. And
Any funny stories?
well, I once had a woman, when my hair was real long, I was getting on the bus, and she said, I didn't think it would ever happen. She says, now they have hippie mailmen. And I turned around and grinned at her. She says, you're a woman. I never saw a woman mailman before.
Any complainers on your route?
Once in a great while now, of course, I'm running the route a little differently than it used to be. And every now and then someone says, gee, you sure are here early. And then somebody will say, you sure are here late.
Do you have the ladies on your route whose day has been ruined if there's no mail for them?
Definitely. Even if they just get a piece of junk mail. Pardon me, I mean...
Gotcha.
Bulk, right? And they're very happy to get any kind of mail at all. And they want to know where the mail is if they don't get it.
What about your family?
Oh, I have a large family. I consider it kind of a large family. We have 6 children. And my oldest one is Richard, and he is a police cadet.
And your husband's a full-time police officer?
He surely is. My husband's a full-time police officer. He's retired from the Air Force.
Well, he's a full-time everything, aren't
he? He sure is. There isn't anything he can't do. He paints, and he right now has some paintings on exhibit.
Is it true that you'll ride a bicycle 30 miles on your day off?
Yes, sir. We rode 37 last week, and we're planning a trip to Oklahoma next week.
On bicycle?
Yes, sir. That's with all the children, too, excepting the one that broke his neck. And he's thinking seriously of getting the doctor to let him, and so far he's conned the doctor into pretty much.
Has he conned Mama into it?
No, not yet.
What is your philosophy of life?
I think life is wonderful. I just think take each day for what it's worth and try to make the best out of it.
We'll change the first letter now. What is your philosophy of a wife?
Well, I try to do my best. I have a wonderful husband and a wonderful bunch of children, too, and I just love being a wife.
I think she's just a bundle of energy. She loves company, loves a party. She always wants to be in the go. There's just no end to what she wants to get done.
Your husband's a painter. You work in ceramics. He's a full-time college student. He's a full-time police officer. You work a mail route, and you've raised 6 children.
Yes, sir.
Son of a gun.
And a real interesting life we're having.
And at first, drinking was fun, like it should be, you know. Had a great
Well, she's pretty much on the ball. It's pretty surprising, but she can really do it.
We think she's utterly charming. We think that we should be more like her. She's efficient and friendly each day, and regardless of how heavy the load is that she carries, and we can see it, she never complains.
The land is needed for school growth. 200 HUD apartment units are presently planned on the HUD property located just 8 blocks east of here on Interstate 35. Also, 68 units are planned 7 blocks north of here on Weber, north of Terminal Road. It is obvious that these 268 apartment units will themselves overcrowd the schools, and the state of Texas space requirements for school students will require that the schools expand into the HUD property south of us. The schools have no other way to expand.
We have other possibilities. We can go the garbage fee route. There's a possibility of a payroll tax. We still have a possibility of a property tax, etc. What's happened in places like Philadelphia and New York is they've exhausted every possibility, and their backs are against the wall facing bankruptcy or whatever might befall.
Some cities claim to have reduced the cost of government by combining some government services, even some going so far as a metro government. Is there a chance of that here?
I think there's a chance of a modified system of metro government here, and I think the county and the city and the other outlying cities have to address themselves to that possibility because they too are, they too are facing increases. It has been successful in some places, it's been unsuccessful in others. I think it would be quite advisable for us to look into those places that have been successful and see what their magic formula has been.
Altogether about 4 times. Could you briefly describe what happened, the circumstances when it first began? No, the matter is now under investigation, and I don't think it would be proper for me to give you any more than that. I think that other than what the court has explained to the press and what you already have is about all I'm privileged to give you at this time. I have made a 100% complete disclosure to the court and to the district attorney's staff about all of my contacts and all of my conversations, and I think at this time that's about as far as I can go.
How much money did he ask you for?
$10,000.